And joining me now is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake. And Garrett, as I was listening to her talk there about Senator Romney, I mean, you and I covered his campaign together for different news organizations. We've now covered the Hill together for the same organization. We were standing about 20 feet apart when all of this unfolded on the day. And since then, we've had to cover what quickly turned into a partisan war over how we were going to commemorate and remember what's happened. The commission to investigate it is stalled. What are your reflections and thoughts as we think about the last 100 days and grapple with how we're going to remember what happened on January 6th?
Well, I know I certainly won't forget it. I mean, I'm standing right now in the same spot I was in till about 4 o'clock in the morning the next day after the Capitol was finally re-cleared. Folks were able to go back in. The vote counting process could continue. And for me, already that night, I remember stopping Senator Ron Johnson in the hallway and asking him if he felt like he had any responsibility for what had happened earlier in that day. And he told me flatly no. And I think you knew even then that what we had all seen and been through was going to become subject to partisan memory holding and people trying to kind of rewrite what had happened on that day. You see it even now in the effort to create a 9/11 style commission to properly study what had happened. So on the one hand, you've got Congress now trying to move forward, pass a supplemental bill that might help the Capitol Police, might harden these buildings that we all work in every day. But on the other hand, you've got essentially everyone in this Capitol Hill community, especially the people who were physically here that day, the lawmakers, the staff, the journalists, the Capitol Police officers, who still are kind of living with the way that that day changed everything of how we do. I think we should highlight our colleague Frank Thorpe, who put together this very moving photo essay and a video component of it. He spoke to one of the Capitol Police captains who talked about how she feels coming back each day and how she felt about that day. And that part of the story is really important too. Listen to this.
I think the moment whenever it was all over, the insurrection was all over, and I got to sit down and really reflect on what happened. I think that sticks with me the most. I felt sad, anger, just there were a lot of emotions going through my mind. I'm still trying to process it. So I still have moments where I get really upset, and I hope they'll remember how hard we fought and the bravery of the officers that were here.
Case, there's been so much post-traumatic stress for people around this. Every time there is, a lockdown because of, smoke at an overpass here on the highway near here that happened a couple weeks after the attack. I mean, that was sort of traumatic for people who were here. Obviously, the death of Officer Evans here a few weeks after that rekindled a lot of this. And I think what you heard there from the captain is important, the idea that people will remember how hard those officers fought. We're learning more in real time about the ways in which they were set up for failure. And I think that's going to be something that Congress is going to have to address going forward.
Yeah, that was remarkable work by our colleague Frank Thorpe, and that line stood out to me too. I hope they remember how hard we fought. I know I, for one, will remember. I'm sure you will too, and hopefully so will the rest of our country. Garrett Haake, thanks very much, as always, my friend. I really appreciate you being here. And for more of my reflections about January 6th, you can log on to today.com. I wrote a personal essay about the day and the days since. It was a very difficult day for all of us who were there, as you heard.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.